Hello, everyone. I am, of course, excited to be here. It's so nice to see all the faces. People that I haven't seen in a while, welcome. Some new dark boxes. I'm okay with that. You are absolutely welcome to keep your box dark. Hi, I thought that was Ellie. Hi. But also, you can turn it on, whatever feels comfortable for you. And if you want to switch up in the middle, that's okay too, once you're feeling a little bit more safe in the group. I am always thrilled to be in the presence of people who are doing those deeper investigations, mostly because that's how I spend my life, doing deeper investigations. And tonight's talk is about emotional eating, which is a pretty hot topic, we're learning, because we got a huge amount of people responding to it. Some I'm sure will look at the recording, and all of you are here. I really appreciate your presence. It makes a big difference to me. But it is a really deep-seated topic. So we're going to go to some important places tonight, some roots tonight, if you will allow me to take you there. Before I begin, I know so many people that I just want to go in and do the thing, but I know that there are a lot of people here that don't know what we do. So I want to do just a short introduction. There are two of us in this journey. It is me and there's Nika there. You want to wave, Nika? So that, okay, there we go. And so it really is. The combination of the two of us that make these events happen, and how we're able to do this deeper work for you. So, what we really do here is an investigation on a soul level. And so the title of this was Emotional Eating, a Spiritual Perspective. And that's what I believe this is. It is a spiritual journey. And we're going to see how we make it not a spiritual journey. And that's why it doesn't work out so well for us. We're never getting the results we want. And I'm going to go into more of that in a moment. But for me, there isn't anything that is not a spiritual journey, even if we don't know that that's true, because what we are made of is spirit, every single one of us in equal measure. And once we understand that and really what that means, it doesn't mean like a deity that I'm praying to that may come in the form of a guy. It really means a vibration and energy. And we begin to understand that we are the source of it. We are the guy on the cross, or wherever you want to put him. We are what affects the world, nothing else. And so then we say, okay, if I understand that, that means I have to work inside, not outside, kind of messing with things. Well, I've got to try this, and I should fix myself more there, and I should work harder about that, and I should study more and get more certificates and all the things that we do to try to perfect the external and change the external world. What we're doing here is the hard work. We're sitting with ourselves. Not an easy place to go, which is why a lot of people don't want to do it. But it is the only place to go because it's the only place you're going to make an effect. How do we do that? We do that through hypnomeditation. I'll explain the difference quickly now. I've meditated pretty much my whole life, and many different types of meditation, and they're all incredibly, incredibly valuable. But if you are a meditator and you are very busy trying to neutralize the thought patterns, you may find that you're really successful with that, and you get to a place of no thought if you're one of the lucky ones. But when you come back out, not much has changed, right? Your stuff, your triggers haven't really gone away yet. So the way that we approach meditation is we go straight down into the triggers and have a conversation with them. And that's the hypno part, where we invite all of these pieces up and allow them to have a voice. And once they can speak, because for so long they've been stuffed into the unconscious, stuffed into the shadows, and kind of orphaned and shamed, when we bring them out and say, I really care what you think, because you're actually part of me, we get an incredible understanding of who we are. And more than that, we get an incredible release. We let go of the part that's been resisting our ultimate life experience, kind of pulling us away from our happiness. And it kind of joins the party and says, I can be part of this too. You love me too. This is okay for me too. And so it's definitely something you want to experience to understand, but I just wanted to give you that little bit of how we approach every single issue you have. We approach it the same way. Your answers will be different, your journey will be different, but the approach is pretty much always the same. Okay, how will tonight go? I'm going to give a little talk about my perspective on emotional eating, what that has meant for me, although I will full disclosure, eating is not my issue. It all kind of amounts to the same thing. In my world, is an addiction, is an addiction, is addiction, whether it's food or shopping or sex or drugs, or it all kind of turns out the same way. So that's people are like, well, what do you know about emotional eating? And I feel like I know a lot about addiction, so I can be helpful with emotional eating. And I will tell you that we're not going to talk about food because it doesn't have anything to do with food. And it has even less to do with your weight, if that's what you're showing up to figure out. Those are massive distractions. Whether you are overweight, underweight, in the middle, just think about your weight all the time, all of that. If you meal prep incessantly or starve yourself or are like so deep into nutrition, that's the only thing you can think about. Like these are all ways we are trying to affect the external world, right? I will meal prep forever, for days, but it's not going to change anything really. It just keeps me busy. It just keeps me distracted. It just keeps me away from what I think this is really about. And what it's really about is a deep yearning. What it's always about is a deep yearning. Something that your heart is wanting to bring you into alignment with your nature, with your deepest self, with your most joyful self that isn't happening right now. That's what this is always going to be about. And even as I say that, I'm sure some of you have been like, how does she know? Because it's true for all of us. You're not alone in the world. Every box right here is having the same, how does she know moment? How does she know I'm hiding something? Yeah, because I do too, right? I have yearnings that I haven't materialized yet, but I keep listening, not to this, but to this. That's why I show up for meditation. That's why I do the deep work. Because when we can fully align our life with who we really are, things start to get so fun. They get to so joyful. You can't even really imagine, because I couldn't imagine until it started to happen. And now I can't stop doing it, because once you hit the joy monitor, you just want more and more of it. You didn't even know, like the story that we get in the world is that life's suffering. So we accept a pretty large amount of suffering as just matter of course. I'm supposed to be miserable at work, right? I'm supposed to be just kind of mediocre in my relationship, right? I'm supposed to be alone and unhappy in my life, right? No, oh, I never know. You'll see that a lot. I don't know why it does that, but I feel bad sometimes when it does it. And so when we start to ask the deeper questions, we are now listening not to our head, which is channeled in to the external world that tells you with every swipe about something else that you're doing wrong, or that you need, or that you should want, or that you should be, right? Your mind is constantly flickering with new ideas and new inadequacies. Your mind never says, hey, you're great and perfect, right? It says you're doing okay, right? But you should really, and even if you say, I'm really great, it only lasts but a minute. You're like, I did a really good job, but now what? So that's all mind stuff, right? That's on the frequency of the external world, which is only a projection of your internal world. So think about it this way. This is the light of the projector, and it's shining out into the world. And whatever you're feeling in here is what's showing up. So you get what you give. It doesn't work the other way around. If I fix the external world, right? A lot of women here, we like to control everything. If I control everybody, I'll be happier. No, you won't. You'll be more miserable, actually. If I find peace within, I will absolutely be happier. And I won't care one bit what anyone else is doing. All my energy will be about my own joy. And my partner has said that it's made him a lot more joyful too. That I have stopped deciding what he should do every minute of the day. So we live, or we start in a 3D experience. That means that we, a part of our life, we have been kind of a hot mess, right? We crashed around, we did all the things, we made some bad choices, maybe we weren't completely happy, we did all the things, and it didn't work out. So then we say, oh, I found this self-help book. Let me read that. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, maybe I need a therapist. Okay, well, that helped a little bit. And then maybe, and then maybe, and then maybe. But all of those things are geared to fixing you. Fixing you. So that means that to get that I'm doing better moment, I have to always be broken. Always broken, because I have to keep fixing myself, because that makes me feel better. Every time I fix a thing, I feel better. I'm getting better. I'll finally get there. One day I'll get there. So then what happens when we get into this awareness of the 4D of like, oh, I have some problems and I'm aware of my problems, and I even know a bit of where they came from, mother, father, sister, brother, teacher, whoever. And I have some tools in order to fix them, right? Whatever you have been doing to deal with your emotional eating. So you're fixing it, but it hasn't worked completely. It's gotten better, but it hasn't worked completely. And so that's when we begin to move into the 5D experience, the higher perspective of things. And we start to see things as a spiritual journey, not just the journey of being broken and never quite good enough, right? And one day I'll be good enough. We get so good at that we keep recreating it. Oh, I'll just fix that, and I'll just fix that. I'll just fix that. Because we literally do not know how to do the next thing. We don't know how to get out to joy, which is what we've been looking for the whole time. So we stay fixing, 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 fixing. It's what I call a loop. I'm constantly looping on the fixing, right? I'm constantly trying to lose weight, gain weight, look like this, look like that, right? A lot of attacking our appearance, because it's something we can affect, right? We can see the difference. We can see when we're doing badly and when we're doing better, right? But it never lasts, because all of that has taken me away from the yearning. We are doing that because we are not quite yet brave enough to sit inside and do the thing we really, really, really want. Our soul's desire. The thing most of the time that we wouldn't even dare tell a friend that we really, really, really want. The thing that we say, no, I'm too old. I can't do that. I've been in this job too long. I can't leave it. I've been in this relationship too long. I have to stay. All the things, right? And you may, I'm not advocating anyone quit their job or leave their relationship, but I am advocating looking at it in a way that can make you happier, that's more aligned with what's happening for you here. It is about finding an agreement with our body, mind, and soul. So our soul, our heart, is yearning for something. And I found that there's two levels of yearning. The first level is, I don't want this that I have. I'm sad about this that I have, and my heart really hurts. And that's a part that we could stick with for a while, right? Because I'm still kind of broken on that level. So that's comfortable enough for me. That keeps me limited. I know I know how to do limited, right? The next is getting beyond that and hearing what the heart truly wants. What is the thing it's hiding or you're hiding from by eating and not eating and shopping and doing drugs or all the things, right? I don't have to list them all. These are all ways to create some level of satisfaction that's so momentary. And we have to keep doing it because the big thing just seems too damn big. Not for me. Not for me. And it could be true for you, right? It could be that this is not going to be for you, but it's a choice. It's not a death sentence, right? You didn't get born with this limitation. You chose the limitation. Where does that come from? Our conditioning, of course. Some shame that we experience, something someone told us. Always, always, always. You were never born with it. You grew to understand it in the world. It is a way you came out and said, look at me. And someone said, stop it. And you shrunk and you shamed and you recoiled from the world. And whatever your addiction is trying to deal with that from the wrong direction. How are we doing so far? Are we getting there? Okay, good. If the heart is yearning for something, your yearning is not, this is where we differ. Your yearning is not the same as the box next to you or the box below you or above you. Your yearning is specifically to you. And if your heart is yearning for it, it's yours. The yearning that Debbie feels would never satisfy the yearning that Donnelly feels. Never. If your heart asks for it, you can guarantee that that was meant for you. It is your spirit, your soul saying, this is what's meant for you. I mean, this is here for you if you choose to take it. But we always have free will, right? We can decide to take that step to look inside. And some of you, I can hear you saying, I don't even know what it is. You might not yet. Because you have to stop doing all the things and sit long enough with yourself for the answer to even be able to rise up. So some of you might be like, she saw me, she knows I have this yearning. And some of you are like, I don't know what she's talking about. I'm so far gone, I don't even yearn. But the answer is always the same. And what I think we could all agree with if we're on this call is the thing you're doing isn't working anyhow. Right? Or you wouldn't be here. So it might be a nice idea to try something different. So I think what I'd like to do now is pause for a moment and see if there are any specific questions. And and the questions are great because they'll help me formulate the actual activity that we're going to do, to be more specific to what it is that you're searching for. But if you don't, we can just dive in. So if anyone has questions, it's a small enough group, you could take yourself off mute and ask away. It is a shot. Thank you, Nadine.
Sorry. Of course I have a question.
I love it.
So what if I felt like I've been struggling on and off, as you know, with this emotional eating and weight up and down, and I felt like I was kind of at the bottom of it, or I felt like I figured out what my yearning is, and I kind of, but it feels like it's never satisfying enough. I feel like I think I found what I was looking for. I felt like I just want a loving romantic relationship, feeling loved and just nurtured, and then I have that relationship, and then at the beginning it's great and I think that's it, and then when the excitement goes away, then I realize I need more, or it comes back. Like it's almost like it's almost not never enough. I don't know. It keeps like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. So when we say that it's never enough, it's because what we were going for is outside of us.
Mm,
Anything outside of you will never be enough.
mm,
It can't, right? The work, remember, I said it's inside. So another person will never solve the yearning.
yeah.
This doesn't, and unfortunately, they lied to us. They lied yet again. They lied to us and said, "Oh, he will solve the problem, or she will solve the problem." No, that's not how it works. You want love.
Right,
It's just you want to love yourself,
right. Yeah, and
and
I
then
feel it's too much pressure on someone else too. Like they can't give all of that. I realized it's not fair to them to even expect
it,
that, you
it's
know?
not even possible because that person cannot give you your own love.
Right. Yeah.
So it's always going to come up short because until you fully accept yourself, it
Mhm.
doesn't actually, all those Disney movies, it doesn't actually work, right? And so that's a hard thing, right? I mean, we all sit with a level of, I'm not good enough. How can I love myself? After I do this, then I could love myself. After I do that. But the thing is, there's nothing you need to do. I want to say this phrase: whatever we judge, we fear.
Mhm.
Right? So if I'm saying, we'll just stick with weight because we're in emotional eating right now. I am, I don't know, maybe I'll just do height. The height. Right? I'm not tall enough, right? I'm afraid. I'm afraid that I'm not going to be tall enough. I'm afraid. I'm a fear. Whatever I'm judging, there's a fear underlining that, right? And so the judgment can never be correct
Mhm.
because it's always based in a fear.
Mhm.
When we judge someone else, we feel very justified. Well, I mean, she's a blah blah blah, and he's a this and he's a that. When we're afraid, that's why we're judging. They're threatening. That's why we judge. And when we judge ourselves, we're afraid, afraid, afraid. We might fail. We're not good. We're judging ourselves because we are afraid that what we are is not enough because someone told us that. We
Mhm.
picked it up along the road, but it's never going to change because you're always going to be you.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, right? Because how am the only thing I can really do that makes any sense is accept myself as I am because I'm never going to be taller.
Mhm.
Actually, my height's just fine. If I decide it to be true,
Mhm.
all I have to do is decide it to be true. Thank you very much. Um, and then it's true. Now, easier said than done.
Right.
I have to understand why that bothers me so much.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we go in and we work on the deeper levels.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not about, it's a bad example, but it's not about getting high heels so I'm 5 inches taller. It's about going in and understanding why that's a trigger for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then finding the internal love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thank you, because that was a really helpful question. Anyone else?
Hi.
Hi, Anya.
I don't know if this is more of a question or more like if you can just talk a little bit more on this, but the part that I keep thinking about is how you're saying how we're like fixing these little things rather than the bigger problem because that's too big to fix. Um and just sticking with the emotional eating part just because that's like a top of mind for me right now, but I feel like this has been something that I've been trying to fix for so long, probably. And when I think back to the first time I started thinking about my weight and what I look like, it was because I was like a young girl at a gymnastics camp where I was told that if you're thin, then like you're just like better than everyone else, and that's how you become like a champion. And you can only be a champion if you're thin. And I was so young when I did that. So it's just been in my life for so long, but I also understand like that's not true. And I understand, so I now know there's this like deeper rooted thing. And I think like how long before, like once you're like done fixing all these little things and then you start to fix that big thing, like how how can we just be okay with like not fixing things? Because the pull is so strong to satisfy this not enough.
Yeah, thank you for that question. So, right. So we all got it from somewhere, right? And what's also really interesting? Serena Williams, right? She's majestic, but she wouldn't have been back when you were a girl, right? They would have, right? So the thing changes all the time too, right? What you're supposed to be changes every minute. So you can't really keep up. You can't keep trying to fulfill someone else's judgment, which is what is a judgment always? Fear. So they're imposing, whenever someone is judging you, your mother, your father, anyone, they're imposing their fear on you. They love you. They do. But they are fearful people too. They are humans. And so when they're judging you, it is because on some level they are afraid that their beloved child is going to screw it up. Like they did or like they didn't or whatever, right? So your teacher, everyone who has judged you in your life has some level of fear that you got shoved on you. Yeah. And you made it your own. You said after you get done with fixing all the external things, you'll never get done. So just stop. There's too many external things to fix, right? Because they're all about fears. Well, if I do this, if I try that, if I try this, and remember, they're pointing you in the wrong direction. If I remember, I'm the projector, right? And I'm trying to do everything outside, but if what's inside is a big void, all I'm projecting out on the screen of life is a big void. So I have to stop fixing everything outside and start sitting with me. And so I have to sit long and deep with the feeling of I'm not good enough. They said I was not good enough. What did that feel like? Why did I believe it? Why do I still believe it today? How do they know? who are they? What do they look like now? Right? And so we believe what other people say, but we never stop to think, if aren't they lost too? And so it gets really, we start to ask the deep questions when we can have the courage to sit with our own sadness and our own feelings of lack with all the love in our heart. Then we start to heal. And then no matter what anybody says, you don't care, because you're 100% good, because you did it in here. There's no amount of organic food that you're going to eat that's going to make you better. None. And you can see how there's a billion different ways people obsess with food. They're super healthy. They're hardcore vegans. They're all the things, right? But it's all because there's a yearning in here that they're afraid to answer, so that I can control this. I don't know how to even approach this. Does that help? Anyone else?
I'll go. Sorry
Hey.
for being off camera. I'm really sick, so I'm off camera, so you guys don't have to see me blowing my nose. I think for me, it's stress eating, and it's a coping mechanism, and it's very much a learned behavior from my childhood. Like my mother did it. It was, food was always reward, and food was always meant to make you feel better. And that was absolutely passed down to me, and it's behaviors. If I've had a bad day, oh, that I deserve a sweet, like that was sort of my childhood thing, and I pulled it forward for sure, and I live that way. But I've noticed it's stress. It's like a distraction I use, and it goes in waves. It's not all the time, luckily for me, but there are times when it's basically stress eating is very much that, and it's comfort food. When that happens, and I'm aware of it, but I can't seem to not do it when I'm in that moment. I don't know if you have any tips.
I do. So just, it's insidious, right? You want me to tell you how to stop stress eating, right? That's kind of how you phrase the question, right? Right. But that's not what I'm going to tell you to do. You can stress it all you want.
You're going to tell me to figure out why I'm stressed and to tackle it. Yeah.
Right. Because our body, remember I said this is an agreement between the body, mind, and soul. Our body is saying, this sucks. And your mind is saying, too bad. And your soul is yearning. So I got to do something. So I'll just eat. Because it'll give me a little bit of a reward. It'll give me a little bit of that I feel okay for the moment. But I got to keep doing this, and the amounts keep having to increase to make myself feel better. So I fell into this. I hope this is a helpful conversation. I fell into this habit of, like, I would sit with a client on Zoom, and after each client, it's a lot, when you're sitting with someone and they're really, we're really present with one another, it can be a lot for your nervous system. And so I just would go down and I'd eat something in between every client, right? And there's a lot of clients, so every time I go down, I'd eat, and I'm like, oh, what just happened to me, right? Like I got on the scale and I was like, oh, what's happening here? Hadn't even noticed it, right? And then I'm like, oh, I'm overloaded with energy, and I'm trying to feel different. And the food did do that, but it didn't really help. It didn't address what was going on systemically. I was getting a lot of energy, which stress can be like, I couldn't process the energy. So when I broke up and realized, and because I have some understanding about what I'm talking about, I'm like, okay, what's another thing? Right? What I have to, my body is asking me for something, and it's not food. It's not even hungry. So I would sit, right, and I do some yoga, or I meditate, and I would sit with the body, because the body is what needed the help, but not in the form of food, which wasn't even nourishment. It was like it needed me to be with it. And that's stress, right? We have left the body, we have left the whole house, and we are so up here spinning, 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 that in some way, food does ground us, right? But it can't be the solution, right? So the yearning, in my example, was I needed to unload some of the energy. My body needed me to be present with it.
That's very helpful. Thank you.
Okay, any last questions? Because I want to do a little bit of a meditation with you if I can. Oh, okay. So we might run a little over. I hope that's okay. And I will say before we dive in that at the end, if you can stay on, Nika has some information for you at the end. And she can answer other questions and all the things. So don't jump off right away. Okay, so the way that we meditate, many of you do meditation with me, so you know, but if you're new to it, we start with a gazing point, which is a way to see something in the world that's reflecting stillness and steadiness so that we can connect to the part of us that is still and steady. We call that in meditation the unshakable self. We are multi-layered beings, but the ultimate self that we are, the self that's going to be able to answer all the questions for us, is not in here. It's in here, in our being. And I have called it the unshakable self. It could be, many people have called it many things. I just like that one a lot. And so after we kind of connect through the gazing point, we're going to do a little bit of a breath, and then I'm going to take you on a journey to connect to the yearning. And that may feel safe for you, or it may not. You can go wherever you want to go. No one's forcing you to do anything, but that is where I'm going to lead us to tonight. Okay. So let's begin. Let's find something in front of you that is still. Definitely not Juna. And then see if you can be with it. You're not staring, you're gazing. So there's a softness to your eyes. It's almost as if you are receiving it. And it is showing itself to you. It is reflecting the stillness that's inside of you. It's helping you to remember that that part actually exists. Maybe your breath is beginning to slow down. And as you relax a little more, you can feel the weight of your muscles and bones. And as you slow down, shifting gears in your nervous system, as you get quieter, you may be able to see many different parts of this singular gazing point. Things that you were unable to see when your mind was so busy. We're going to take 3 breaths. Inhale. And slowly exhale through your lips. Inhale again. And as you exhale, feel your body and the space around your body. And this time, as you inhale, remember your heart, and as you exhale, land right there as you close your eyes. Imagine, sense, or feel yourself right there in the center of your heart. We're going to take 4 more breaths to further help us switch our nervous system from fight or flight to rest and restore. And the breaths are going to be an inhale, a little more of an inhale, and then the sound of a sigh. And you'll be able to hear mine, but you're all on mute, so no one can hear you. So really let the sound of the feeling of your breath cross over your vocal cords. So we're going to inhale. Inhale some more. And exhale. The physiological sigh helps our nervous system relax more quickly. Inhale. Inhale again. Inhale. Inhale again. And last time, inhale. Inhale again. Notice now, you might feel some energy in your body, a flickering or a vibration, change in your heart rate, a pulse. This is the actual experience of feeling energy. So you're aware of your body, the weight of your muscles and bones, but now you're also aware of the energy of your body. And you're aware of being aware. And that's the most important part for us, the awareness. I'd like you now, if it's comfortable for you, to just place your hand over your heart and feel that center. Know it as a very intelligent part of who you are. Part that has a much more quiet voice, but is also much more in tune with you, with your essence, with your truth. It never really changes itself because at its core, it's only ever one thing. It's only ever love. So with your hand there, I wonder if you can feel the level of love inside of your body, inside of this portal. And if it's really easily accessible to you, or if it feels a little crowded in there with other thoughts and feelings and worries and wants and judgments, just notice. If that's what it is, it's crowded. You love that. Can you be aware that you might want to judge it or push it away? And instead, just go ahead, just for now, and see if you can love that. All that it's had to take on over the years of your life. Did so very courageously, didn't it? Doesn't really deserve more judgment. Maybe a little more consideration, a little more affection. As you're sitting there in the portal of your heart, noticing your current situation, your current vibrational state, I'd like you to take another breath and exhale softly through your lips and see if you can relax in just a little deeper. To a part that might have a want or need, or might just feel dissatisfied. And as you're sitting with that part, you're there as your unshakable self. You're there simply observing. And as that deep, grounded self, can you ask honestly, what is it that you really want? And if something comes up that's in the external world, ask again. Nothing outside of you will ever resolve you. What do you really want to feel? What essence do you really want to carry? What is your nature? The thing that brings you so much joy, your resonance. Take a few breaths if you're not getting anything clear to you just yet, because it also needs patience. It needs you to love it enough to be patient with it, to let it know that you'll sit there till the end of days just to get its answer, because its answer is that important. It's the only answer for you. So it's worth waiting for. Now, if it's come up super clear what it is that you want, I'd like you to ask, why are you not there yet? What are you afraid of? What do you think that all the external things that you're doing can hide? or satisfying. What burden did you bear? What sadness, whose sadness did you have to hold on to? What was it that you really wanted? And all you have to do tonight is sit with it. You don't have to make any changes at all. Just sit with it. Allow it to have its voice. Allow it to have its moment with you, your unshakable self. In a safe and loving place. And as you're ready, in your own time, when you feel complete here, you can let your breath deepen. Feeling any shift in your body, any way the physical body feels different right now. And before you open your eyes, I'd like you to know that you're going to look directly at your gazing point again and see if you see it a little differently now. You'll take a breath or two, notice your body, and then very slowly open your eyes and notice the gazing point feels different, looks different. And then as your eyes open and you come back to this space, if there's anything that you would like to share, any questions or any experience that you had that you'd like to share, you can come off of mute.
I'll share just that your your prompts really helped because I started to think about external things, and then you encouraged looking inward and thinking about the things that were really internal, right? And focused on me, which was really helpful. So thank you.
Thank you.
Very impactful.
Thank you. And I think we have to be reminded of that so often in a loving way, because it's so, like Anya said, it's so easy to go out, to go out, to go out, because that's what everybody else is doing. But no one looks that happy to me. Anyone else?
Always happy to share. um it was really beautiful. So thank you for that guidance. I found myself back into that like little girl who was told all these lies and judgments from being passed down from other people that are not mine. And I just started thinking about how, not even thinking, I just started to feel what that little girl would want instead. And it was all about creativity and art and that type of stuff and beauty. And so makes me want to go paint something. And
There
also
you go.
Gina like fell asleep the second you said that. She's sleeping on my lap now.
Oh, I'm
What a cute.
hypnotizing. So that's an indicator that it's working, like that you want to go and paint, right? That's not trying to get satisfied from the external world. Our creativity starts to bubble up. Our inspiration comes up. It's not, I should paint. It's like, I'm inspired to do it. And that's how we know we're tapping, we're getting there. So thank you. Anyone else? Did you want to say something, Deb? Go ahead.
I'm not sure what, but I did want to respond to that we don't look happy, because I feel very happy after the meditation.
No, not you. The people who are just striving and striving and striving, thinking they're going to find happiness. I feel like I don't see that it's working. So,
what I wanted, I think it's hard to kind of remember, was more clarity, and that kind of transferred into needing more calmness within myself. And I have to say that I forgot how good this could be for me. Thank you.
You've been missed.